Okay, so basically in our last session, what we did, we have installed core components of Citrix and we have installed and configured hypervisor as well. And in my case, the I'm my hypervisor is getting IP addresses from my DHCP server. Okay, but it's totally up to you. You can use static IP as well. Okay, but for our learning perspective, it is fine to get IP address from DHCP, but in production we always use to have the static IP address. Okay,
Okay.
because if our DHCP scope goes down, in that case our hypervisor will not be able to communicate. Correct.
Yeah.
So that is completely fine for our testing, but in production we always used to have static IP address for gen server. And for delivery controller means if you have any server in your production, you have to use static IP for all those servers. But for client machines like Windows 7, 8 or 10, whatever you are publishing to your end users, for those machine DHCP can work. Correct, because those are the random desktop. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me a moment. So now what we have to do, we have to set up a site to publish our application and desktop to our end user. Okay, so for the same, what we have to do, actually this is a fresh console of Citrix Studio. When you open Citrix Studio for first time, you will get this kind of screen. Okay, so now we are getting three options here, like to set up a new site, to enable remote PC access, and to scale up our deployment. So you have three options here, like if you want to create new site, you can continue with the first one. And if you have any physical machine, just suppose if you are having multiple physical machine hosted on your at your office, okay, and you want to publish those physical machines to your end users, in that case you can also enable remote PC access for those machines. Okay, and third
Okay.
one is to scale up your deployment. Just suppose if any existing site is running in your current infra, in that case you can add this particular site to existing delivery controller. Correct, but so far we do not have any existing site running. So what we will do, we will go with the first one. First we have to create a site. Okay,
Oh.
so let me click here. And what about your hardware? Have you managed it, or still it will take time?
Uh, yeah, it will take time.
No,
No,
because
in the
problem is
no
that
in the
I can explain
end
you
of the
each and everything in a single session
yeah
as well, but without practical, you will forget each and everything, I'm sure.
yeah no we will discuss end of this session.
I
I
have
have some
already
plan.
I have already given
No,
you an offer, so if you are
yeah
agree,
yeah
but it's
that's
better
what
for you,
I
buddy.
yeah
Look,
sure. No,
each
end of
and
the
every
session we will discuss.
yeah, please discuss, because I can support you somehow.
Yeah, I
If
have
you are having some
correct. So I
financial
have
issue as
some
well,
plans.
no issue. Okay, so now as you can see, now
No,
sorry, sorry again.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
as you can see here, now it is asking to enter a site name. So what is site name? Site name, it could be your office name, it could be your office location, it could be your name. Correct, but it should be
Yeah.
identical to identify the site. Just suppose if you are having headquarter in Mumbai and you have multiple sites in Indore or in Gurgaon or in Noida, so you have to specify that site name. Correct, like when your
Yeah.
users accessing your resources, so it should be accessible to particular sites. So in my case, I can enter Indore. Okay, so by that name means I will be, or my colleagues will be able to identify that this particular site is for Indore location. Correct, or either you
Okay.
can type head office, or it could be a location, it could be a office name, anything. Okay, even you
Okay.
can enter your name as well, no matter,
Yeah. Sure.
but it should be identical. So in my case, it's Indore. Simply next. So now these are the database which is used by Citrix, like site, monitoring, and logging. Okay, so site is for site logs, monitoring is for, like hardware and other resources utilization, and logging is for user logging details, like whenever user are getting login into your infra, at what time they have logged in, what time they have logged out. All those logs will be there in your database,
Oh,
correct?
yeah.
So this is the database name by default, okay, and this is the path for my SQL server, okay. So why, as you can see here, it is mentioned that localhost. Why? Because we have installed the SQL server in same machine, correct? So that is the only reason
Yeah.
we are getting localhost. So if you have any
Oh,
separate machine which is running on SQL, so in that case you have to replace localhost with the IP address of that particular machine, correct? If
oh,
you have any
oh,
other SQL server already running in your infra, so you have to enter IP address in place of local host, correct?
yeah.
So simply click on next. So are you on holiday today, or you are
Yeah, yeah.
working?
No, holiday. Off today.
Perfect, buddy. And what about tomorrow?
Tomorrow also I have on-call support, but night shift, not day. No, it will start around 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow.
Yeah,
My
correct.
shift
So
start.
in that case, what I can do for you, I can give you some hardware, and it will easily took up to 4 or 6 hours for you to set up the entire infra. But I'm always there to guide you for sure, because
Yeah,
it will be better for you. So are you planning to get into Citrix profile? Okay, you told me like you are already into the Citrix profile for some kind of L1 kind of job, correct?
correct.
Okay. So this is most important thing, like the port number for licensing server is 27,000. Please do remember that port number, correct? If you
Okay.
opt
Okay.
for any interview for L2 or L3 kind of support, so you
Oh,
always remember those port numbers, okay.
mm,
So far if you are so far like we are continue with the 30 days trial license for our educational purpose, so it is completely fine for us, okay. And if
oh,
you have any license key, you can select that option, and you have to browse the license file. So license file extension will be .lic only, okay.
well,
But so
okay.
far we do not have any license file, so we are good to go with trial version, correct? So
Oh,
select this one, simply next. So now it is asking for a hypervisor, correct? Because this is a Citrix Studio console only, correct? And we have to create our
yeah.
virtual machines on hypervisor itself, correct? So now it is
Yeah.
asking you to connect your hypervisor, which hypervisor you are using right now. Okay, so as you can see here, we are having three options which are major in virtualization. Like first one is from Microsoft, the Hyper-V. Second one is for VMware vSphere client. I have already
No,
configured one here. Okay, so in
yeah.
in multiple MNCs who are still running on ESXi host or VMware host. Okay, so those companies are still using ESXi as their hypervisor. They guys are using Citrix as for virtualization, but they are not using Citrix hypervisor. Why? Because they have already their own hypervisor, and they cannot replace their old infra so quickly, correct? So that is the only reason those options are there. So go back to this script, and right now we will continue with the Citrix hypervisor. So
Yeah.
now it is asking me to enter the address for my hypervisor. Okay, so you have two options. Either you can enter the IP address of hypervisor. In my case it is 10.52, but it is always recommended to enter FQDN, that is fully qualified domain name, correct?
Domain.
So
Oh,
it's http:// server hyphen 01 server hyphen 01 dot techmtech.com. This is the FQDN in my case.
okay.
In your case, it may be different. Okay.
This work.
So now I have to enter the root user, and I have to enter the password for my root user. So let me enter the password. And now it is asking for the connection name. So again, connection name should be identical. So It is something like that, if you are having hundreds of hypervisors in your infra,
Yeah.
correct? So it should be identical. So what I can enter here, the connection name, it should be gen server -01. In that way, I will be able to identify that network, correct? To
No.
which hypervisor it is connecting. Simply, as usual, we are using the machine Citrix machine creation services, which is MCS. So we are good with that. Simply click on next. Okay, so now it is asking for storage management. Okay, so in production, we always use the shared storage like the LAN storage or the network storage or SAN devices, correct? In production, what we will prefer, we always prefer to store all user data on centralized storage location, correct? Which is SAN or LAN or any other shared storage device, correct? But so far we do not have any shared storage. So what we will do, we will continue with the local storage of that hypervisor, correct? So as you can see here in my hypervisor, I have assigned 100 GB of buddy, I think there was some
Yes.
network fluctuation from my end, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
So give me a moment. So just let me know what I was explaining to you when we dropped.
Oh, no, we are talking about this one, file share
Okay,
in the
so
studio. Yeah.
here is the, so in production we always use the shared storage or the network storage or the SAN devices or any other shared devices, correct? Why? Because
Yeah.
we always want to keep all of our user data on centralized storage. Why? Because just suppose if your hypervisor goes down, so in that case you will be able to access the data for end user, correct? So
Okay.
but in our case, as we do not have any shared network device or storage device with us, so we will continue with the local storage of our hypervisor. So in my case, if I go here on gen server 01 into the settings, you will see I have allocated 100 GB of hard drive to my hypervisor. So for our learning, we will use this storage to create virtual machines, to create templates, to publish applications. Okay.
Okay.
So actually shared storage if I'm okay, so for Citrix, if I'm talking about the shared storage, that means I am talking about the PBS, Citrix PBS services. So actually, Citrix PBS services is a part of L2 kind of thing or Citrix certified professionals. Okay. So have you ever
Okay.
heard about the PBS? That is Citrix
Yeah, I heard about.
services.
Yeah, yeah, I heard about it. It's a product from Citrix, right?
Yes, so that we will cover in our upcoming sessions when we will continue for L2. Okay, like right now we are
Oh,
preparing for Citrix certified associates, and after that we will go with the Citrix certified professionals. So in that series, you will learn what is PBS, what is NetScaler, correct? How to manage the load balance and multiple kind
oh,
of L2 kind of things. Okay.
oh,
So now we are good to go with the local storage. So simply click on next. So as you can see in the storage selection, what we have selected OS and temporary files on local storage of Gen Server 01. That is completely fine for now. Okay. Simply click next.
oh,
Now it is asking for the network resource name. So it should be identical again. So I can enter Gen 01. Okay, so in that way I will be able to understand like my network 0 is connecting to my gen server 01. Okay,
no.
simply next. So now it is asking if you want to select FB publishing, you can select, but again FB publishing or FB packages is a part of L2 or L3 kind of support. So first you have to create a basic infra, you have to create a lab, then all those features we will cover up later. Okay, so we are
Okay.
not selecting this for now because if I select each and every component in this series itself, so it will be quite confusing for you, correct? So I'm as we
Yeah.
are started from the stress, so we will cover up each and everything to expert level for sure. Simply click
Yeah.
on next. So again, this is a summary what we have selected: the site database, the delivery controller, ddc.techmtech.com. This is my delivery controller, the license server port number. We have selected connection type to Citrix hypervisor. This is the FQDN for our hypervisor. This is the connection name. This is the network 0. And the virtual machine OS storage, we have selected local storage on Gen server 01, and same we have selected for virtual machine temporary storage. Okay, so this summary,
Okay.
click on finish. So now what it will do, it will take some time and it will create a site for you. And after the site creation, you will be able to see all the options. Like if you ever log in into the Citrix Studio, you will get like, machine catalogs, then delivery groups, and multiple options are there. Have you ever logged in into the Citrix Studio console before?
Yeah, we daily we used to log in.
Okay, so the console you are accessing right now, so this is the backend thing that we are doing. We are creating a console. Okay,
Okay. Oh,
so in that way you will be able to understand, like if you are accessing any console, it should be connected to any hypervisor, any delivery controller should be there. Each and every options I will show you in some time. Okay, so
okay. Okay.
actually why I always prefer to have hypervisor for my students. The reason is that as it will take some time, but no worry. So let me minimize this. So as you can see here, this is my hypervisor. So basically hypervisor is used to host virtual machines and applications. Okay, so now what we have to do, we have to create a virtual machine, we have to create a master image on our hypervisor. Okay, so what
Okay.
I can do here, this is the Gen Center client which is used to manage the hypervisor. Why? Because our hypervisor is Linux based UI, correct? So you cannot control from
Yeah.
here, correct? Because you have very limited options. Means you need some
Okay.
GUI tool to manage, correct? So in a same way,
Yeah. Yeah.
Gen Center is a GUI tool which is used to manage the Citrix hypervisor. Okay. So what I have to do, I can add multiple hypervisors in Gen Center, but now I'm going to add our hypervisor which is running on 10.52 IP address, and I have to enter the root user credentials of my hypervisor. So it will sync and it will connect to my hypervisor. So as you can see, it is connected to Gen server 01, which we have created earlier. So if I click on Gen server 01 and into a general, you will get all the details like license detail, what license port number using, version you will get here. If you are if you have any updates available, you will get all those things here. Memory you can check. So far we have allocated 10 GB of RAM and 8.1 GB of RAM is usable for us, means available for us to perform operations. If you click on
Oh,
the CPU, you will get the CPU details here. If you click on the memory tab, you can see so far we are allocated 10 GB of memory, and that much of memory is getting utilized by the OS itself, this OS. Okay, and
okay.
rest 8 GB memory is available for us to create the virtual machines or to publish the applications. Okay, if I click on the storage, I will get the storage details, whatever the local storage connected to my machine. If I click on the networking, you will get the network 0, which I have synced with my Gen server 01. And I see is also something relevant to network card itself. So you will get all the details like the MAC address, the speed, duplex, vendor, device, multiple details are there. Okay. If you click on the console, so basically console is a graphical display. So just suppose the screen you are getting here. Okay. the
Yeah.
same screen you will get here itself. Like for the same, I have to enter the password. So as it is running on the Linux, so uh, right now you are getting CLI screen, okay, not any GUI screen. So to change it to GUI, we have one console like access console. So if I put that command, I will get the same screen here, okay.
Oh,
So in that way, we have very limited commands for hypervisors, like if you want to delete any dead virtual machines, if you want to clear out the caches, and if you want to reset any user profile with command line, we have multiple commands. So what you can do, you have to go to the local command shell here, and you have to enter the root user password. You will get one command line here, okay. So with that command line, you can perform multiple operations, but again, this is not for you right now, because the L3 support or the L3 engineers you might be having in your organization, correct? Because those
yeah,
guys
yeah, yeah.
are responsible to manage the entire infra, correct? Like if you are having any ticket with you and you are unable to resolve that query, so in that case, what you have to do, you have to mention your comments over the tickets, and you have to forward that comment to ticket to L2 or L3 support, correct? That's
Yeah,
what we are doing in every organization. Means it is a kind of ITIL framework, correct? So always we are
yeah,
following the same. So again, so we have nothing to do here. So now so go back to the delivery controller. So as you can see, our site is created, and this is a basic console similar to the console what you are accessing in your office or in your infra or for your current job profile, correct?
yeah, yeah.
So you are getting the machine catalogs, but right now we do not have any machine catalog created. Delivery group, application, so far we do not have published any application group, correct? Policies you can configure,
Correct.
you will get the logging details as well. Click on it, come on, what is going on? Let's wait for it. Might be some script is running on, okay. And multiple options you are getting, like administrator, console, hosting, licensing, storefront, FB publishing, and zones, okay. So as I told you,
Okay.
you will be able to pull out the data for logging, like how many Citrix administrators are logged in at particular time, and you will get all those logs, okay. What action has been performed, like in my case, my domain is TechMTech and my domain user is root, okay. So what actions I have performed, I have set up the database connection, I have added the configuration site, I have deployed the entire deployment, whatever I have did, all those logs will be there, okay.
Okay.
So now coming to the machine catalog. So basically, machine catalogs are the virtual machines which we have to publish to our end users, okay.
No.
Delivery groups, with the help of delivery groups, we can easily restrict the virtual machines. Means we can easily restrict the machine catalog to specific users with the help of delivery group. Just suppose if you have created a machine catalogs for HR team, okay,
Okay.
and you want, like, HR team will only be able to access that machine catalog. So how to restrict the access to this machine catalog? For the same, we are using the delivery group. And coming to the
Yeah.
application, just suppose you have to publish a simple application. Any application you want to publish, you can publish the application from here. Like you have to click on add applications, then you have to select the machine catalog. So far we do not have any, so close it. Policies I have already explained. Login, you will get all the log details. Coming to the configuration part, so this is a database. that I already explained you earlier. Coming to the administration part, so far I'm having only one administrator, which is root in my case. Okay, so just suppose go back
Okay.
here and let me log into my domain controller, and where is Active Directory? Here it is. So I have created root as a domain user, and I have test user one as well. Okay, so now what I can do from here with that test user, let me check the properties. So it is a domain user only, no admin user. Okay, so no issue. So when I go to here on delivery controller, so now I want to add one more user. Just suppose I have one new joiner in IT team or in Citrix team. Okay, and I want that user to access my Citrix Studio. Correct. So I have to click on create administrator, and I have to select that user from my domain. So I can check check name. So test user one is here, correct? As I have already shown you. I can select that user.
Yeah.
I have to select all object. Now I have to select the role for this user, correct? Like if you want that user to be full administrator, you can select. If you want help desk administrator, so if I click on help desk administrator, you will get that particular user will be able to modify all those things only, like delivery groups, directors, then application groups and the zones. Okay, and if I click on full administrator, so full administrator will have access to all the objects, whatever object you have in your infra. Full administrator will be able to manage each and everything. Okay, and just suppose if you have
Yeah.
got any help desk guy, so you can provide read only access to that user. Okay, so read only user will be able to access all the object, but he will not be able to modify the things, correct? He will only be able to
Yeah.
report the things like that thing I have checked and this is the issue, and after that what he will do, he will forward the ticket to correct team or correct support group, correct? So
Correct.
let's create, okay, so let's create read only administrator. Okay, click on next
Oh.
and enable that administrator, finish it. So now I have created one user, which is test user 01. Okay, so now let's try it out, it will work or not. So for the same, what I have to do, I have to sign out with root user, and now let's log in with test user 01. So now we will try to launch the Citrix Studio, correct? So
Okay.
user account is being getting created for this user. Okay, so wait for it. So now let's launch the Citrix Studio. So as per our settings, what we have configured for test user 01, he will only be able to view the things, correct?
Yeah.
So let's see. So basically we have created a site for Indore location. Location may be different in your case, okay? And we have discussed the basic things like what are the machine catalogs, what are delivery groups, how to create users for Citrix Studio console, okay? Those things we have discussed, and how to create the machine catalogs, that I will also let you know. So right now in your current job profile, do you have access to create machine catalogs?
Yeah, I have full. I'm a
Okay,
full administrator. Hmm.
okay. So as you can see, Citrix Studio is now launched for whom? For test user 01, correct?
Yeah.
This one. So now if I click on the machine catalogs, wait for it. You know, I have recently changed even hundreds of hardwares for me, and I always, whenever I bought new processor, it's may work for 6 months or 5 months only. Why? Because I always run every processor with 100% of efficiency. So this is
Okay.
because we are performing the virtualization, so we have to virtualize. We have to use each and every hardware up to 100% of efficiency. So no worries. So okay, so as you can see,
Oh,
we are into the machine catalogs now, as this is a read-only administrator and we do not have any machine catalog listed here so far. And as you can see here on
yeah.
right hand side, we are not getting any option to create a machine catalog for this user, correct?
Yeah.
Because he is read-only user. In the same way, if I click on the delivery group, you will not get any option to create a delivery group. Into the applications, no option will be there to add new application. If I go to the policies, it is stuck now, wait for it. Because in my career earlier I was working with one small organization in
Okay.
2012. In 2012, when I have started my career, and
Okay.
luckily on that time I was working as a help desk guy. It's more than 10 years now, correct? So
Oh,
on that time, luckily I have got one scrap server. That server on that time
okay.
we have to scrap, and somehow I have got 6 or 8 months to use that server for my personal, not my personal stuff, for my learning
Oh,
thing. So I have utilized that
okay.
server. On that time, the memory on that server was 6 GB only, because in 2012, 6 GB was quite sufficient,
Mm-hmm.
because on that time we were guys was
Oh,
using Windows Server 2003, correct? Or 2008.
oh, yeah.
So as you can see here into the policies, same thing, that user is not getting any option to add new policy. Like this is a read only user. So the motto is to show you how to create, how to add users, correct? So
Yeah. Yeah.
because we cannot perform any action with that user, so let me log out again for test user 01, because this is useless for us.
Yeah.
So now let's go back to root user. So now what we have did, we have configured a site, correct? And now we have to create a machine catalogs from a snapshot, correct? But
Yeah.
to create a snapshot, we must have some virtual machine running, correct? From which we can create a snapshot. So for
Yeah.
the same, what we will do, we will deploy one virtual machine on our hypervisor, which is Gen server 01. Okay, so
Uh,
now, okay, so before deploying any new virtual machine on our hypervisor, what we have to do, we must have some ISO files, correct? We can use those ISO
yeah.
files to boot our virtual machine. So for the same, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new storage. Actually, I'm going to create one ISO library. Okay. So here I'm going to
Okay.
use Windows sharing file, and I can name it as a ISO library. Next. Now it is asking for a path, like where your ISO medias are located. So for the same, I have to go to my CGART expansion drive, and into the data, into the ISO files. I have multiple ISO files here. So what I have to do, I have to share that folder. So into the advanced sharing, okay, it is already shared, and permission read only to everyone, that is fine for me. So this is a path. So it will not resolve my uh, host name because it is out of domain machine. So what I have to do, I have to go with the IP address, and my IP address, what it is here, it should be 10.1. Okay, perfect. So basically what I'm doing, I am mounting ISO media from the location which is not into my domain, because my domain is limited to my VMware infra, correct?
Yeah.
And the ISO share I have on my physical laptop, my physical hardware, correct? So I have two options here.
Okay.
Either I can copy those ISO medias to my domain machine, which is connected to my domain. So I do not want to, unnecessarily utilize my hard drive, correct? So that is the only reason why I'm directly
Yeah.
mentioning that path. So this is the path. So it will not resolve my IP address. Why? First, it is out of domain machine. And second, if I want to resolve that IP address, I have to make some changes in my host file, correct? Here.
Yeah.
So although I have made some changes, but my host name is not that familiar as you can see. Let me show you the host name of my local machine. So this is the host name, some random host name. So no worries. So I have entered the IP address and the share path. Okay. So now I have to use the different username. Why? Because now as I am using that path, so I have to mention the username for my local machine, correct?
Yeah.
So let me enter the password of my local machine. In local machine itself, I am using root user. So as you can see, my ISO library is created now on left hand side. If I click on storage here, you will get all the ISO files, correct? Like Windows 10, then
Yeah.
SUSE Linux, Ubuntu, Windows XP, even I'm having Windows XP ISO file as well. Okay, so
Okay.
now we are good to create a new virtual machine. So just right click on Gen Server 01, you will get one option to create new VM, or you can click here as well. Okay, so now we are going to deploy Windows Server 2019. Let me short this like Win 2K19. Okay, and now it is asking for the installation media, so I can select my, where it is, Server 2019. And now it is showing the message like you are having only 8 GB of RAM available. Okay, so we are good. Next, change the configuration. So now it is asking for a memory, like how much RAM you want to allocate to that particular machine. So 2 GB is fine for our learning purpose. Click on next. So this is the storage path, like it will utilize 32 GB from 100 GB of hard drive what we have allocated to our hypervisor. Simply click on next. This will be our network, which is network 0, which is connected to our hypervisor 01, like Gen Server 01, and finish it. So now what it will do, it will create one VM here. So as you can see here, it is starting the VM. If I click on VM and if I click on the console, so you will get what is going on here. Let's wait for it to initialize the virtual machine. So now display has been initiated, and now we are good to create new virtual machine. So what we are doing in the same way how you create virtual machine or VMware workstation, in the same way we are creating virtual machine on a hypervisor with different GUI only. This is the only difference, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So in production, no one use VMware Workstation Pro, correct? What they did,
Yeah.
they directly installed that Citrix Hypervisor OS on physical server, correct?
Yeah.
So but we cannot do that because we are not having any, because we have to perform multiple things parallelly, correct?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
those servers are dedicated to for virtualization only, but as we have to use OneDrive, we have to use Google Chrome, multiple things, and also we are using the hardware for personal stuff as well, correct? So now from this screen, it is the same installation, like how to install operating system. It is a similar thing, correct? The same options you have to select, like install now, and after that, what you have to do? Yeah, buddy, I think again I lost it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so no worries. Let me
Okay.
share my screen again. So what I was explaining is that this is the same as usual installation of operating system, correct? Like we have to select the
Yeah,
version, click on next, nothing complicated in it. And after that, what you have to do, you have to join this machine into the domain. And after that, I will let you know how to create a machine catalogs from this machine. First, we have to configure this machine as a master image. Okay. We will
okay,
create one snapshot from this machine. Okay. And from that
okay,
snapshot, we can create thousands of machine catalogs in a single click. Correct. So let's wait for it. Actually, it may take some time. So this is the only reason why I always advise my students to use their own hardware, because at this screen I am speechless. I have nothing to explain, correct?
correct.
Yeah, because this is a basic thing. As an IT
No,
guy, everyone have to
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
those kind of skills, like how to
No,
deploy a virtual machine, correct?
yeah. In between, while creating this site, no, so
Mhm.
we have seen that database types, right? So site and monitoring and logging database. So
From
inside
here.
database, what it stores actually?
Okay, so let me log in here into the logging path.
Yeah, yeah,
Let's wait for it.
yeah. In the interview, they will ask this question.
Hmm.
Yeah, in interview, they will ask what are the database. So,
No worries, buddy. I will explain you each and everything.
uh,
So basically, if you are talking about the database, what is database?
yeah,
Database could be
uh,
anything, like if you are storing any
yeah,
of electronic information, correct, into any device, it is
yeah,
database, correct? Like if you are storing a
yeah,
data, that means if you are storing a data in a huge quantity, it is database in simple words, correct? So now, if we talk about the Citrix, so
yeah.
basically Citrix store three kind of database. Okay, the first one is for site
Okay,
information. Second one is for configuration and logging, and third one is for monitoring. So if we talk about the site database, so it will store all the running site configurations, like how many sessions are connected, how many users are connected, correct? All those kind of information
okay,
is stored to site database. Okay, if talk about the logging database, so in logging database, it will store all user data, all of the users login data, like for how much duration user have connected, correct? Just suppose if user is complaining, like
yeah,
he is not be able to access to your store front, correct? So you will check like
yeah,
which user is connected and when last time is that particular user is connected. So for the same, if you have use that command like cmd, just suppose if I want to because many times you will get complaints from end users, like their user account is logged out or they are unable to access to the infra or the applications, correct? So
yeah,
we have one command for that, like net user. In my case, username is root, and I can check that user. So now if I explain here, expand this, I will get user full name, username, and then user account status I will get, like account status is active. Last password reset, I will get the date. Password expire, never. Password changeable, multiple things I can get. Even I will get the detail, like the last login detail for that user, correct? And also I will
Okay.
get the details, like administrator means the group, the membership for this user,
Okay.
correct? So this is a basic command. It means it will help you a lot if you are working as a L1 kind of support. You can run that simple command with username, and you will get all the details like account status, what is going on when user have last login, correct? So that command I
Yeah.
always recommend for my engineers, because we cannot trust on the
Okay.
users, because they are not technical guys, correct? Just suppose if you are advising any HR
Yeah.
or finance user, you cannot expect some technical points from them, correct?
No.
So basically it is storing three database. First one is for site details, second one is for user logging details, and third one is for monitoring details. So if I talk about the monitoring in the sense, Citrix Director is a tool which is used for troubleshooting perspective, correct? So just suppose if any of your engineer
Yeah.
uh, getting remote session, means any of your engineer is working to troubleshoot any end user query, and he's continuously taking remote session of any of user virtual machines, okay? So all those kind of technical stuff, okay, will comes under the monitoring part. Or also in monitoring part, you will get the utilization of your hardware resources, like how many memory is being utilized, what are the CPU counts, how many hard drive, how much hard drive it's utilizing, all those things. So basically if someone asks you like what kind of database it is storing, so you have three options. First one is site, second one is for logging, third one is for monitoring. That's it, correct?
No. Yeah.
So this is a simple answer for this thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
any doubt so far?
No, nothing. Yeah, clear now.
Also, okay, it's 50% now. Also, I have prepared one document as well, and earlier I have helped one of my students to crack CCA-V exam, and
No.
it is passed now. Actually, means he has got a good result, correct? And he is certified now. So
No.
where was that document? Desktop, then tutorials, then yeah, here is a document. So basically, this is a document, and I'm not going to explain each and everything to you right now, because
Okay.
you will get confused. So those kind of questions, uh, these are the general question which may be asked by each and every interviewer, correct? Like what are the connection
Yeah.
leasing, what means is your gen desktop work without database connectivity? Yes, it will work for sure. Why? Just because of connection leasing. So what is connection leasing?
Condition.
That I will let you know with practicals, okay? Because if I want to explain the definition only, so it will never help you, correct? Without practicals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So coming to this is a basic question: what is virtual delivery agent, storefront, static receiver, studio? These are the basic things. And this is the important question that can be asked every time: what is machine catalog and how many types of machine catalogs are there? Okay, so if we are talking about the machine catalog, we are having three type of machine catalogs. First one is for server operating systems, second one is for desktop operating system, and third one is for remote PC access, okay? Each and every topic I will explain to you. And what is delivery group? And those are the basic questions. So this is a important question: what is flex management architecture? And these are the
No.
important services which is running under FMA, like flex management services. Or like if you are looking for L2 or L3 kind of interview, these are the important question, means this is the only question that can asked by you
Yeah.
technically. how many services are there. Okay, so basically um, when it was started, only 6 services was there, but now all those services are increased to 18 in total. Okay, so these are the
Okay.
major services. So out of 18, you must have remember like broker service, machine creation service, then hosting service, monitoring service, then your configuration logging service. This is a database, and this is also a database where it is monitoring service, and high availability service where it is analytics service. So out of means it is quite complicated to remember all the service, but you should remember some, correct, like the basic ones.
Yeah.
That will be fine. So
Okay.
now going back here, so it will take some time, buddy. So what we will do, like in this session we have created a site, okay, and we have configured, we have deployed one machine in our hypervisor. So after that, what we have to do, we have to join that machine into our domain, okay, and we will install
Oh,
few application in this machine, okay, and we will
okay.
configure that machine as a master image, and from that master image
Oh,
we will create machine catalog here, okay, and we will configure the
okay.
delivery groups,
Okay.
we will publish the applications, means like all those three things we can cover in single sessions, okay,
Okay.
and it will take some time. So when you will be free, like in the evening?
Evening, maybe after 7:30. I'll...
So are you on shift now?
No, not today. Tomorrow I am on shift. Evening from
No, no,
on
I'm
call
asking for
support.
today evening.
No, 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 today. No, I'm going outside. I'll be
Okay,
back on 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
okay, so once you will reach, please call me.
Okay.
Apart from that, please call me
Okay.
separately for that hardware part discussion, okay, on my mobile, okay,
Okay.
and we will discuss and we will close up
Mm.
the things, because uh, we are continuously going ahead, okay, and you are getting some issues like you will not be able to deploy the entire hardware in a single go without any practice. So okay, please do not rely
Okay.
on the videos, because some real time issues will be there that we need to troubleshoot, okay. So I do not want
Okay.
that kind of knowledge for you, because it will somehow it will affect my image as well actually. So that is the only reason. So no, the actually what we are
Okay.
doing right now, listen, what we are doing right now, we are
Uh,
wasting our time. Why? Because the same infra I am creating on my hardware, and the same we have to replicate on your
okay.
hardware. So it will be better if we can create only one hardware, means one infra, and you are continue to practice on that hardware, correct? So it will be
Yeah.
better, because in that way we are really wasting some time in a way, correct? Not actually we are wasting, but
Correct.
it's time consuming, correct? So please call me separately on my mobile, we will discuss, okay buddy? So I'm concluding this call
Yes.
and we will connect in the evening. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, buddy.
Fine.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you.